Alright guys, the topic is test cases and test scenarios. What are those? Well, before you start making your tests, the first thing that you have to do is sketch out all the things that you are going to be testing. Then you have to make test scenarios for all these things. The test scenarios consist of every test case for a given action that you want to perform on a given element, a given page, a given form, or whatever it is that you are testing. So, for example, I have prepared here two forms for you to practice, the login form and the register form under the test scenario tabs. And if you open one of them, you will see that I have prepared several different test cases for the given form. So here for the login form, an example test case may be that you try to log in with an invalid username and the invalid username has less than 4 characters. So this is one test case. Test the login with username that has less than 5 characters. Another test case may be to test the username field with a username that has more than 12 characters. What will happen then? These are all test cases. And a test scenario will consist of all these test cases. For example, your test scenario is to test the username field with invalid usernames. This is a test scenario. And your test cases will be invalid username with 4 characters, invalid username with 13 characters, invalid username with only numbers, for example, and all the different invalid usernames that you may have on your login form. Your second test scenario about the login form may be about, for example, testing the password field. What if your password is only 4 characters? What if it's more than 12 characters? What if your password consists only of letters? What if it consists only of numbers? These are 4 different test cases that go in the same test scenario. But if you want to test the login form with a valid username and a valid password, this is just a single test case and it doesn't have to go in a scenario. So you're simply testing, alright, what happens if I put valid username, valid password, valid repeated password, what happens? This is only a single test case and it doesn't go in either of the test scenarios that I mentioned. It simply doesn't have to go as far as having a test scenario for it, simply because it's only a single case. So this is how you should structure your tests. If you can think of at least 2 different test cases for a given test scenario, then you have to create a test scenario. If you can't, then you don't make a test scenario. You simply make only a test case. Assertion. What is assertion? Well, every time you make a test that tests something, you should have a way to confirm if the test passed or it didn't pass. And this is called assertion. So if, for example, we fill our login form with some credentials, let's say valid credentials, let's say test user, and some password that will pass the test, and we click login, we get an alert that says successful login. Now, our assertion for this case, for example, will be to take the text of the alert box and compare it with the preset text on our own. So we will first say, alright, let's check if the text in the alert box is equal to successful login ! This is our assertion. And if we have this, then we know that the test passed. If we don't, then the test obviously didn't pass. For your cases and whatever you're trying to make tests about, it may not be as simple as that. If you have a login, for example, in Facebook, if you're testing the login of Facebook, you are going to want to try and see if you can see your avatar image, for example, after you log in. This may be your assertion. You should assert your tests in such a way that you're checking for an event that can happen only if the test went as you expected it. In the Facebook example, you will see your avatar only if you have successfully logged in. In the case here with the login, you will see this alert box with this text only if you have logged successfully. If you log with invalid credentials, let's say 4-letter username, valid password, you will get an error. User ID should not be empty, or the length should be between 5 and 12 characters. So when you're testing about less than 5 characters username, you are going to check if the message in the alert box is equal to this. So again, you're checking for an event that can happen only if everything went the way you described it in your test. If that event happened, then your test was successful. If it didn't, then something is wrong. Either you found a bug, which is perfect, so you can fix it, or something is wrong with your tests. And that is why you also have to bulletproof your tests, which we're going to talk about a bit later. So, see you in the next video. First, I'm going to show you the software that I'm using. You can use any software that you want. There are many different softwares that you can use to make mind maps. I'm using Xmind, and you can find it at xmind.net. Go to this web page, download the software. You can download it from here. Download it, install it, pause the video while you're doing this, and after you complete with the installation process, open the software and then resume the video so that you can do what I'm doing while I'm explaining it. Now I'll make a short pause for you to pause here. Alright, I hope that you have already installed the software, and let's go. So, I have already opened the software here, and I'm going to use the most basic type of mind map that there is here. So I'm going to use the first. You can always change it later. You have different themes that you can use here. Again, I'm going to use the first one. I really don't bother to create a very good looking visually mind maps like the ones that you can find down there, but if this is what you want, you can use it. I am simply using them for the purpose of what I want to do. So after you create your mind map, you start with only a single box. Now, what can you do with mind maps? There are two main things that you can use mind maps in testing in general, and these two things are first to make a map of your website with all your elements on your web pages. And the second thing that you can do is to sketch out your test scenarios and test cases. And later you will build your page object model by using this map, and you're going to build your test scenario and cases by using the sketches you made on your test cases. So I am going to give you an example here, and I will also tell you about a few shortcuts in Xmind that you can use so that you can create your maps faster. So when you press enter, you're creating a new branch on your main topic, on your central topic, like this. If you press enter again, you'll get another branch. If you want to make a sub branch of this new branch, you have to press tab, like this. If you want to go further down the branches, the sub branches, you press tab again until you reach the depth that you need. You can delete them with delete button, of course. And in order to rename the boxes, you press space. It's much easier. I will show you a few other things that you can do. When you select all your boxes, you can go here in the structure, and you can choose any structure that you actually want to use. You can make it like this. Let's add a few other main topics here so that you can easily see what I mean by this. So this is how it's going to look. If you change it to timeline, it's gonna look like this. Come on. Alright, so let's go back to the original structure, the map. So this is how the normal map looks like. So I like to change the curved lines here. I like to make them into straight lines. You do this by clicking on this blank, in this case, drop down menu, and you choose straight, and it simply looks better in my opinion. There are a few different approaches that you can take. You can either make a new sheet for every page that you have on your website, or you can simply make all pages in one map here. Now, let's make this central topic our home page. Let's call it home page with a space here. Alright, this is our home page, and I'll move our browser here. Alright, so what do we have on our home page? Only what is specific to the home page. Now, our menu is not specific to the home page. Our header is also not specific to the home page. This right sidebar, again, not specific to the home page. The only thing that is specific to the home page for this particular example is the headline, the image, and the text. I'm going to delete all these unnecessary topics, and I'm going to leave these three. Alright, and the first thing, like we said, is the headline. The second thing is the image. And the third thing is the text. Alright, these are the three things that are particular to the home page. They exist only on the home page. Now, let's make a new sheet. We go to Insert, and we click on New Sheet. So let's go our first sheet, let's rename it and call it Home Page, so that we know what it is when we later need it. Alright, and let's make our second sheet about everything else that we see everywhere, like this headline, the menu, and the right sidebar. So we are going to call this, let's call it common stuff. Let's call it like this. So we have a menu, we have several different things. So the first thing that we have is the headline. Headline. Then we have a sub headline. Then we have a menu. Then we have a search box. Then we have recent posts. We also have recent comment, categories, meta. So recent comments, categories, and we also have meta. Alright. Now we go to the menu, and we have several different things on the menu itself. So we are going to make 6 new branches on the menu, like this. 6. So, introduction, selectors, special elements, test cases, test scenarios, about. And you can do the same for the rest of the elements that we made here. So we will have here a first post, because there are always different posts. Second post, third post, and so on until the 5th post, because we only have 5 posts here. In the categories, we are going to have a category drop down menu, and then we're going to have the menus of the drop down menu will be sub menus to this box, not this but this. And the same goes for every other element that we made here. We are also going to make a new sheet for every page that we have here. So we have special elements tab, and what we are going to describe here for the special elements tab is that we have 5 posts. So we have a headline, we have a post, every post has an image, a link to the post, a date at which it was created, number of comments, some description text, another link here that lets you open the post again. And we have all this in common for all these posts. So you can simply say special elements, and you have headline, you have post structure, let's say, it has image, headline, date of creation, number of comments, short description, read more link, and so on. I think that there is no need for me to explain any more about this. It will simply be a waste of time. I will also show you one sheet that you can use to make your test cases and test scenarios. So let's go to test scenario, open the login form, for example. This will be a sheet that contains all test scenarios about the login form. So we have login form here, and we have invalid username. Then we have invalid password. Then we have valid credentials. So here we have the different cases with invalid usernames. Here we have the different cases with invalid passwords. And here we will have only one case because there's only one case with valid credentials. So after you do all this, the process of creating tests becomes much easier and much faster once you have all this in place. See you in the next video.